would sell, the condition of the borrower, the condition of the property, and the condition within the bank. They have a lot of bad debt that they need to get off their books in order to relend. You know, the banks want to sell the loans because they're not set up for a loan modification. They outsource all that to services. A lot of people think they're dealing with the bank, and 9 times out of 10 is the servicer that they're dealing with, and the services cannot negotiate a term with the homeowners better than you and I can, because we'll be more passionate, we will be more understanding, and we will be able to make a decision quicker. You know, when they're dealing with a servicer, it's just what they see on their screen. Yes, no, I can take it. I got to send it up. I got to do this. Time going, homeowner get frustrated. We can provide a better solution at a faster time to get that note performing again and resell. All right, bank notes. It's never been a better time because it's flooded. The inventory now that's out there. You can create a short-term return on long-term cash flow. You can rewrite the notes. You can create beneficial terms for the homeowner through modification. You could generate high rates, a high yield return. Ownership. If you foreclose on a property, you can have ownership on it. And the type of notes are real estate bank notes that we're specializing in. You can buy the notes from the courts or private notes. You know, like I mentioned, you go down to the county clerk. There's a lot of private notes, especially since the bubble crash. A lot of owner financing. Those are private notes that you can buy. You know, a lot of owner financing. All right, this is the part everybody wants to see. How you make the money. You can settle a note at a discount, and we have some case studies that we're going to get into. Sell at a higher price for profit. These are just some of the benefits of, you know, how you can make money. You know, it's better than most investments because the majority part of the time you have equity in a note. You know, you can buy, a lot of people say second notes are no good, but what if you had a $200,000 property in value, and the first note was $50,000, the second note was $50,000, and it's $100,000 more than the property, so that's a safe investment, right? If the client foreclosed, you can take the property, you can buy it, you can resell, you can cash out. So when the way pools are bought, the way most people buy pools, there's 3 different types of loans within those pools. There's high equity, partial equity, and no equity, and it's mixed of all of those. So you might buy a pool for $500,000 that would derive a $1.2 million profit. And I'll give you an example. That same situation, another group that we deal with, they purchased 240 notes for $500,000, and their profits was they wanted to derive $1.2 million. That's what they thought, you know, they would make. They sold 20 loans in that pool and they made $470,000. You're saying, wow, they still got 220 loans left. How did they do that? Because as we mentioned, there's a mixed. You can pull the chair here. There's a mixture in the pool. Those 20 loans were all high equity loans, and they were able to buy them, get them reperforming, and cash out. Now they have 220 loans left. They may not get those same profits, but you see where I'm going with it. You know, there's enough room for them to derive that $1.2 million. And the reason they want to cash out quickly is to keep buying more notes and keep that money turning. You always want to have liquidity. So, how does it work? You can buy seconds, performing and non-performing, equity or undervalued, and we'll get into that. 85% of the banks will sell or settle on the notes. 65% borrowers can get their notes settled or purchased without formula. You can avoid title seasoning issues. You know, a lot when you buy and going A to B, B to C, or those flips or whatever you're doing, you have to wait 3 months and all those restrictions. You buy the note, you don't have to do that. You know, you can just sell to wherever you want to the next day. And you can get a full lease of lien and liability. The one that owns the note controls the deal. Now, a lot of people are talking about the securitized market or the loan was securitized, the banks can't sell it, they don't have the note, blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is the person took the money, they owe the money. You know, it's just a delay process for the bank, for the inevitable, you know, especially in New Jersey where we are. There's a lot of success in California, Florida, you know, where that's at. But basically, this is the space of the securitized market. The loans that we buy have original paperwork. If not, there's a loss affidavit that they come with. and it's reps and warranties that we get, that we're in second position. All right? So, as you can see, the performing first, performing second, this is the niche that we're in, this market, but this is still a huge piece. All right? And this is our target right here. A lot of people like first position because they feel first position is ahead of everyone. But in first position, as you know, a lot of people who haven't paid their mortgages for 2 years, the servicer or the note holder is still paying those taxes. They're still paying forced insurance until they're able to rework something out with the homeowner. I don't want to be in that position, paying taxes, trying to figure out what the homeowner is going to do, and I have all these expenses plus foreclosure. So what we target is second mortgages that the first mortgages are performing. Those are the only seconds that we buy. Even if the house is upside down, we know that there's emotional equity. Anyone know what that is? Emotional equity? All right. Sometimes the house may be upside down, and the homeowner will still pay because they may have a kid going to college. They've been there for 10 years, 12 years. They may have got the house, inherited the house, and they want to stay there. They're comfortable. They don't want to move. And they're able to work a solution out with the bank to stay there. So they emotionally attach to the property. That's more valuable than having $100,000, $200,000 equity. So it's just like you buy a brand new car and you drive off the lot. It's upside down. You're still going to make the payment. You're emotionally tied to it. You know, a couple of months you might crash and get rid of it, but that's the point. They emotionally tied to it, so they will pay. So when we see, even if they're upside down or have equity and they're paying the first, we want to buy that second. So when we look at the tapes and we buy the pools, we want to know, is the current on the first? We don't even care about credit. Credit doesn't even matter. It's if they're paying their first mortgage. And are we in second position? And if we're buying right, let's do it. You know, we call a homeowner up and say, guess what? It's a great day. And your mortgage was $100,000. Now it's $50,000. You might have paid $6,500 for it. Now, I see you have $25,000 in arrearages, but I need $6,500 to start you off again. Can you do that? What do you think they're going to say? Well, I may not be able to do it now, but if I can make 4 payments of that installment, I would do it. So now you get your $6,500 back, and what did you do? You just created an infinite return with equity. Now we can go to this gentleman and say, guess what? I got a $50,000 note. The client has paid on time for 6 months. The season is reperforming. I'm going to sell you this note for $20,000. You know, you got $20,000 in your IRA. You say, yeah. The client is paying $300 a month. So now you're going to pay $20,000. You're going to get a note that's paying $300 a month with $30,000 equity. It's a great deal for you. Another reason that we like to buy in the second space is because we can spread our risk more. Would we rather buy 2 first lien positions for $250,000, or would we rather buy 40 loans for $250,000? So it's this, you know, when you look at it, it becomes much easier to buy seconds and know that you can spread your risk and you have more potential to work from. Only seconds where the first are performing. That's the ones you want to buy. What's next? All right. NNG provides education, mentoring, and note supply for investors. We're looking for investors to handle the volume of notes that we have available. We're pooling our resources together for bigger and better purchases, both for investors and National Note Group. And we offer investors the opportunity. We offer this opportunity to accredited and sophisticated investors. And this basically is something that definitely works. These are different ways to invest. If you want just a passive return, you can invest in a fund. Diversification across the entire portfolio. So we're going out to take down a package, and we put a fund together, a private placement. Basically is registered with the SEC as a 506D. We blue sky the offering with the state, so you're safe. Your attorney check it. You invest into a fund, which will give you 12% return, and it's spread across the whole portfolio. All right? You don't need no experience and minimum capital needed to do that. And we'll speak about the benefits of that. You can invest in performing notes. We'll buy the notes, we'll work them out, get them performing, and we can sell them to you on a one-off basis, or we can sell you mini pools. You know, for $70,000, you might buy a pool of 5 loans that you get to pick and choose which ones you want. And you make a return of $200-$300 a note, plus you have the equity position. I'm investing non-performing. If you want to do what we do and you want to get them for 2 cents, 24 cents on the dollar and work them out yourself, we'll buy you the tape, we'll break off a portion of the non-performers and sell them to you, and you can work them out on your own. But the benefit of investing in a fund is let's say you're getting educated and you don't want your money to be lazy, like most of it probably now, sitting in a savings account, and your money's not working for you. So I call that lazy money. You know, you need to put your money to work. So you can invest in a fund that will pay 12% interest on your money, and then you guys get the first pick when the loans are performing. You know, say you invested $10,000 in a fund and you're getting 12%, and we get a note to perform. We can sell you a note for $10,000 that's getting an 18 or 24% return with 7,000 equity. So if you invest in a fund, you get the first pick to say, I want to get that note. You know, we'll give you a tape, and you can pick from that which one you want to cash out of the fund, and then the servicer that we will put you along with will service the note for you, and your only position will be to call a senior lien position to check if it's paid or not. And there's a trick that you can do. You can actually contact the senior lien position and tell them that I'm the second position and I'm willing to pay if they don't pay. Do you think they're going to call you when they don't pay? So instead of you calling every month, they'll start calling you now.
You waiting on the questions? You taking me for a long?
I'll take some questions if you guys have questions.
What are the services charging?
$15 per month. And actually, I'm going to get
Is
you
there a
that.
setup fee? Or?
Yeah, it's a $45 to $100 setup fee. It all depends on the work that you want them to do. They will do the whole campaign for you. They send out the RESPA letters to let the client know the new sheriff in town. They'll send the door knockers, you know, for $70. PInow.com. You can go there and do that yourself. They'll take all the customer service calls. I have a list of the stuff that the service will do.
Would you say the website was?
It's PInow.com. Yeah, PInow.com. They do the door knock service. You'll see a lot of times the banks are using realtors now, where they go to Equator, they download, and they get like $10, $15 to go knock on the door and leave a sticker. So you're like, you know, the homeowner would know that the bank was there, you know, and that kind of, or they knock on the door, and so the person answers the door, they give them the phone, the bank, we want our payment. So the banks are getting more aggressive in doing those services now. I don't know if you guys know that, but it's a lot of realtors who are taking bids on Equator to do these services, and they pay $10, $15 per house. We hire PInow.com to go investigate to see if the house is vacant. You know, we know they're paying their first mortgage. Let me explain to you, let me back up for a minute, a performing note. A performing note could be 90 days behind, just so you're clear on that. It doesn't become non-performing until they get past the stage of 90 days. And then what happens? A list pendants is filed. It all depends on which state. If you are in a non-judicial state, it's 30 days. We're in New Jersey. We invest nationwide. We're not just investing in New Jersey and New York. Really, you know, we've done a couple of deals in New Jersey. I would rather do deals in Texas because in 30 days, if they don't pay, I can start the foreclosure. It's easy to find an attorney, prepay legal. It's like $80 a month. You pay them $150 a fire letter off. It may be $2,000 for an uncontested foreclosure, but if you paid $1,000 for the note and it's worth $30,000, what do you have to lose? Probably from a pool, I would say 30% of that will go towards foreclosure. But if we foreclose, then we lost. Foreclosure is not our goal. Our goal is to work out a solution for the homeowner. So again, if we foreclose, then we lost. We're not in the foreclosure business. We want to get that note reperforming, get the homeowner back on track, so we can then sell that note. All right. Basically, from your IRA or 401k, these are ways to invest. Basically, investors who are interested in leveraging their money at a double-digit interest rates. We offer retirement investors or any investors who want to invest into passive investments backed by real estate and the support of integrity of professionals dedicated to keeping their retirement investment money secure. And at the next event we have, we're going to have someone from Comma Plans, Carl Fisher. He's going to come up and speak about, you know, how to set up an IRA. It's very simple. It's $50. He'll show you how to do it. And if you still can't do it after that, then we'll go to Kmart and buy you sweatpants because you might not be able to zip up your pants. It's that simple, really. All right. The profit on the mortgage note investments are rolled back into the IRA. If it's a Roth, it's tax-free. And the money is also tax-free when it's withdrawn from the account. Lending or buying notes from an IRA can be outstanding way to get high returns than the IRA is able to achieve while still having all of the money in mortgage notes. Interested investors should contact IRA, and like I said, we'll have Carl Fisher here at the next event. These are different ways of how we profit. We can resell the note. We can do partials. Partials are great. You know, and I discovered the power of the partials, and this is what we're going to be teaching our class. Let's use that same example of the note we paid $6,500 that's worth $50, right? It's performing now. I can go to this gentleman and say, I have 120 payments on this note. For $10,000, I'm going to give you 60 payments. After those 60 payments, the note come back to me. Now, what did I just do? I got my money back, plus $3,500. He put in $10,000. He's getting a return on his investment. After those 60 months go by, then it'll come back to me. It's still an infinite return. So that's a partial. It's like insane. Some of you are going to not be able to sleep tonight. I know. It's crazy. All right. So this is another example. You can buy a note for $100,000, non-performing, complete a workout solution with the homeowner, sell a note for $35,000, and make a $15,000 profit in less than 1 year. Or you can cash flow and work out a solution of $300 a month, get $3,600 a year, and get an 18% return on your money with a $15,000 equity position. Remember, the face value of that note is $100,000. It's another one I got in there too. If the homeowner is credit is beat up, you can pay $1,000 or work out a solution with them where you lower their payments and you put them back on the back of the end of the payment of what they owe you. Get their credit repaired, and after a year they can refinance, and then that's when the kicker comes in, when you get the full value of your note to wherever the property. This property may, instead of $35,000, you might make $70,000. It all depends on what's the equity position when they refinance. So you may have some notes where you might want to be patient, pay for credit repair service, make sure the client is paying on time and doing everything after a year. You refinance them through a lender you might know, and your kicker comes in, and you get the full value of that note. All right, let's talk about the risk. Does note buying have risk? Of course it does. It's like anything else, including getting out of bed in the morning or staying there for that matter. It's true that no transactions are risky. It's also true that many are very safe. The risk is not knowing which is which. It's a mistake to generalize it, as many people do, and say paper is risky. It certainly can be if you don't know what you're doing. That's the real risk. But for the returns they offer, investing in paper is one of the safest investments available. We want to lower the risk on our investment much as possible. However, there is no such thing of a totally risk-free investment. Even hiding in your savings under the mattress is risky. If you put it under the mattress, I don't know if anyone's doing that. So these are some of the things that can minimize the risk. The obvious problem with the strategy that calls for safety is by simply putting all your money into a low-risk vehicle that is your yield on investment you actually put behind the true inflation, rate of inflation. And nobody got rich by investing in the money market fund. Anybody who made millions of dollars investing in the money markets? There's nothing wrong with that, investing in that or stocks. I just like to have control over my investment, and notes allow you to do that. The stock market is great. Flipping properties is great. If you have a lot in your portfolio doing different things, then you're good. You set up passive, what do they call it? I forgot. I'll come back to it later. Lost my thought. Risk management. Basically, the current unique market and conditions and potential for the unprecedented returns, understanding the types of risk and its effect on the return of investment, maximizing the value of potential and non-performing notes. You can yield greater return in non-performing notes. The exit strategies of cashing out could be settlement, the resell to a third party or investor, modification. Let's talk about that. We actually just got a note where we purchased second position for $6,500 is $58,000. The first position is $85,000. The homeowner's behind 60 days on the first. We're going, wow, I wonder if this homeowner knows about the HAMP. Let's contact the homeowner, do a HAMP modification form, lower their rate. They have a 7% rate on the first to 2%, which will make more room now for what? For them to pay us on our second. So you can do that, the second position. You can do a deed in lieu. Let's say a homeowner you call a homeowner and say, what went wrong? How can we help? What do you want to do? I don't have any money. I can't stay here. Well, I can have a POS container to your house next week. I can pay a security deposit in the apartment for you. All you have to do is continue and go from there. You can do these things. Just sign a deed. They sign a deed over to you. You can reinstate the first, put it on the market, sell it, and cash out. There's so many opportunities that is in the second position. And you can, like I just said, or you can foreclose and create leverage. Sell a property, refinance it, or short sell it, whichever way you want to go. Any questions so far before we go to the case studies? No? No questions? All right. These are some case studies. The fair market value of this property was $170. The first mortgage was $193, and it was delinquent. The note purchase price was $4,700. There was about $20 in collection fees, so our total investment was $4,720. The discounted payoff was $12,000. The homeowner owed $45,000. So we offered the homeowner a discounted payoff. They paid it, and this is the profit that we made. All right? The homeowner was behind 3 years on the first mortgage. We helped the homeowner modify the first, and then we did a settlement on the second. So these are the type of scenarios that you can create. Another one in California. The first mortgage is $179,000. The fair market value was $220. It was current. The note was purchased for $74,300. Our total investment was $76,30. We did a discounted payoff. The homeowner owed $76,000. We took $17,000. We earned a 43% return. The husband died and the wife fell behind on the second mortgage, and we wiped out the arrears and let the spouse pay the unpaid balance, which gave her equity in the property also. So she was happy. This one, the fair market value was $220. The first mortgage was $235. It was current. We purchased this note for $1,800. Our total investment was $3,400. We collected $3,500 in arrears. We worked out a 20-year plan at a 9%, monthly payment of $172. We were able to collect $3,500 in arrears, which covered our total cost. So we're in it for nothing, and we're still getting a return. That's an infinite return. I think I got one more. This one, the first mortgage, the fair market value was $180. The first mortgage was $194. So this is an upside down situation where we have no equity. The note purchase was $5,200. After fees, we wound up our investment was $5,570. We collected $4,000 in arrears. We did a workout plan of the total UPB. That stands for unpaid balance. When you see UPB, that's what that stands for. $48,341. The client was $9,000 in arrears. We created a monthly payment of $338.44. The note was very far in the water. The first mortgage exceeded the value of the property. Even though the property didn't have equity, the homeowner wanted to stay in, and they were willing to create a workout. And this is the emotional equity that we're talking about. So you can still, if you would say, wow, the first mortgage is upside down, why would I buy the second mortgage? Because there may be emotional equity that the homeowner may be tied into. And these are some of the things that the servicer would do. If you want to look at the servicer site, it's called trustfci.com. Trustfci.com. They're in California, and they do servicing of the notes. There's plenty of companies out there. The one we deal with is TrustFCI. They're sent off, this is kind of tiny, so I'll read it off. The borrower welcome letters, the payoff demands, the lender monthly statement of account, they'll do that for you. So if you get a complex adjustable rate loan and you're trying to figure out the math on it, they'll do all that for you. All right? They do same day payment posting. Through Western Union, the client can pay through that and they'll collect the funds for you. They handle your assignments and mortgage. The client will have 24/7 access online. You can download reports. They do IRS 1098s and 1099 filings. They do payment coupons, subordination agreements, electronic deposits. They do all of that stuff. So these are some, and when you go to their site, you'll see a list of what they charge. And it's $45 to $100 depending on what type of plan you go into, and it's $15 a month. You don't have to do anything but call the first lien position and say, is it current or not current? That's all you got to do. So if you want to manage a portfolio of 20 loans versus 20 houses, which one do you think is easier? You know, this saves you the time from running around, going to Home Depot, you know, and doing all the other stuff. And these are their fees. The loan setup is $44 per loan, $15 amount, you know, per loan. These are some of the things that they charge for standard loan servicing fees. They have all different types of servicing that they do for you.
Are you relying upon the tape to tell you what it's worth, or you send a BPO agent?
Well, when you get a tape, there's a couple of things that you want to do. You want to do BPOs on all of the ones that you're interested in buying. You want to know if it's vacant or occupied. You know, you have to do your due diligence on the tape. Like I mentioned earlier, the tape is 3 different types of loans. There's full equity, partial equity, and no equity. The bank just want to sell a tape. So sometimes they let you cherry pick, and sometimes they won't. So if you buy a tape with enough percentage of full equity and partial equity, then you're in a good space. If I was going to bid on a $1.2 million tape, I would bid $600,000, and I know if it's a great percentage of those loans that are high equity, then I want to make that $600,000 back very easy, and I just have to work out the rest. You know, there's a lot of people who buy non-performing, so I might can buy 200 loans and sell 50 of them to another group. Now I'm done with that, and I might have got 50% of my profit back from that point, and I want to work out a certain position. So when you get your tape, you do your due diligence on it, and you'll figure out what space you want to be in. So those are some of the things that we're going to be teaching in our monthly classes: how to analyze a note, how to analyze pools, and how to buy by pools, because we want to sell pools to you. We want to sell pools if somebody have 100,000, 70,000, 50,000. We want to sell many pools of performing notes that we worked out. And with our pools that we sell, we want to give warranties, not just the reps and warranties that you're in second position. A warranty, if I sold you 5 notes and one stopped performing, I want a warranty that if I can't work it out in 90 days, I'll replace it with one of the same value that is performing. And there's only one other person I know that's doing that. No one else is doing that. NNG. Basically, we actually created a hedge fund, and what we're doing is, I mentioned, we set up a private placement. We have a securities attorney who set that up for us, Saul Ewing. We filed a Regulation D 506. We blue sky the offering, and that gives us the right through federal and state laws to pool money together to go buy these notes from hedge funds. All right, you receive a cash flow. You can have the ability to own a mortgage note if you want to cash out of the pool for a note that's given a higher return. You could be your own bank. This gives you the power of becoming your own bank. You can do it. A lot of people don't think that they can become a bank. It's very easy. You actually don't even need money to get started. A lot of people sit and say, oh, I don't have 10, 15, 20, 100 grand. You can broker notes for us. We can send you a list of notes we have, and there's somebody who wants to buy it. You can calculate the return on investment. If we sell you a note for 8, you want to sell it to them for 12 or 10, you can throw your $2,000 on it and sell it to them. As long as you're giving them a return, a great return with equity, and there's room, then we will allow you to do that, because we want to get rid of our portfolio, but we want to make sure that you sell it at a price point where it's fair for everybody. Oh, this I just put here because a lot of people receive information, and this is a perfect example I want to use. I don't know if anyone saw this before. When an elephant is small, they tie their leg to a stilt in the ground, and subconsciously they grow, and they can have a twig there, and they still won't move because they're conditioned. And if a lot of us have that fear that we spoke about because we're not understanding the space, and we stay conditioned to what we're used to and we're comfortable with doing, and we don't want to take that risk. So you minimize your risk by educating yourself. All right, so don't be the elephant in the room. All right, I'm going to answer questions now. I want you guys to fire off questions that you may have, any doubts, fears of the second mortgage space. I want to try to, I am going to answer all the questions. I believe we still have time.